Welcome back. We are now in Chapter 8, and today we're going to talk about dining out, eating healthy on a budget, and label reading. Somebody actually posted this on one of the Run for God Facebook feeds, and I thought it was so appropriate for this because it just compares how much a fast food dinner can be 1,360 calories. And you can easily break that down into 3 smaller, healthy, well-balanced meals for the day. You get so much more bang for your buck with the vitamins and minerals in those healthy foods compared to fast food. So let's plan and prepare and think about what we're putting in our mouth. Hey there. We are first going to talk about dining out. The biggest thing is, reason why people get caught with the dining out is because they haven't planned and prepared ahead of time. Planning and preparing really is the key ingredient for preventing that what if I didn't get it done, I'm starving, I can't make it back to the house in time. You have it with you. What I like to do, and has really worked well for not just me but a lot of my clients, is that I pick 2 days a week for my bulk cooking. And this is what I will do. I divide it out, and little things I got at like Walmart. Lots of little caddies, and they stack up so easy, and put it in the fridge, and so it's an easy grab and go, and I've got everything labeled on top, either protein plus a carb or protein plus a fat. Protein definitely with every meal. Mine is labeled a little different because I'm doing a different type of format of a diet, because I'm doing one that's based more on eating for performance with CrossFit, so it's a little different. What I normally recommend with most of my clients is just the balance of the carbs, the proteins, and the fats. So right now, mine's a little different. It's 7 meals a day. I'm each having right at the size of the palm of my hand of protein at each one of those meals. 2 of those meals are protein plus fat, and 4 of those meals are protein plus carbs, and I have those basically bulked right around my workout. So if my workout is in the morning, basically I'm eating all my protein and carbs in the morning, and then the afternoon goes down to protein plus fat. If my workout's in the afternoon, then I start my day off with a protein plus carb, and then it goes straight to protein plus fat for meal number 2, protein plus fat for meal number 3, and then I have my other 3 meals of protein plus carbs, and that would be pre and post workout. The very last meal of the day is always straight protein only. So anyway, and casein is a really slow digesting protein, so that's really the best protein to consume right at bedtime. So you can easily do those though. It does not matter, you don't have to put labels on it, but planning and preparing ahead of time is key. It takes me a few extra minutes to plan and prepare on those particular days. I usually choose Sundays and either Wednesdays or Thursdays where I just kind of cook in bulk. It takes me a few more minutes to do it, but in the long run it saves me a lot of time throughout the week. And these are the ones that I actually consume while my kids are in school. So at nighttime I'm cooking for the family and just trying to pick and choose. Some things I can't eat depending on when my workout was. I can't eat everything that they eat, but I'm not a short order chef, so, and never will be. So my kids I do try to compromise and always have something, you know, that they can kind of give in, but also have them try the healthy food too. My daughter doesn't mind, but my son's a little on the picky side. So I'm sure everybody has some children that are picky, and it's very difficult to give in, but they're soaking in. I hear them say things and do things that makes me realize that they're listening. But anyway, plan ahead. Because, you know, if you're heading to the ball fields, or if you got a long meeting or anything like that, plan ahead. You know you're going to be going out to eat with friends, then you've got to think about, you know, what are you going to eat? How are you going to base your meal? If you're trying to really watch your carbs, just kind of go with the mindset of what's going on. Always be sure when you do go out to eat that you always eat protein about the size of the palm of your hand. Now here's another thing. On the menus, it might say 9-ounce steak. Just know that when it says 9 ounce, that is how much it is raw, not when it's served to you. So it's going to shrink some. It's not always 9 ounces. It could be 10 ounces, it could be 8 ounces, but general rule of thumb, that's how much it's going to start out with. So that's how it's labeled on the menu. So just know that. You're not getting just 9 ounces, you might be getting 7 ounces, really depending on how much fat it has. The more fat and water it might contain, the more it's going to drop off. So do know that. So when you're planning and preparing ahead of time, though, it's good to always have kitchen scales. You can weigh and measuring cups, just so you can be more exact. In a way, it's calories in, calories out, but then again, it's the quality that's really is more important. It's the quality and the balance of what you are consuming. So let's get started, and I tell you what, let's just turn to, and I do hope you have numbered your pages by now since the printer's messed up, but turn to page 77 on the very first one here, and we're going to just discuss that and kind of go over a couple things. Definitely for some tips for dining out. The first one I had to leave on there. If it has a mascot, you probably need to leave it alone. But anything that's got extra breading, you want to avoid that. If you go to a place that has chips, they serve chips and bread before the meal, keep in mind that's going to fill you up, and you're not going to eat your meal. So push that away, have them bring it out with your food if you want that chips and dip, or if you want that bread, have it bring it with the food. Order water. As much as you can, sip on that before. You know, really, if you consume way too much more water with your meals, it could actually dilute some of the natural enzymes found in the food. It makes it a little bit harder for those enzymes to absorb into your body and bring out the full nutrition. So drink a little bit before, but with your meals, slow down on the drinking and only drink just small sips. But that's another way to kind of get your mind off the munching too. If something's sitting there and you've got a friend just devouring the chips in front of you, always ask questions. You know, ask them. I mean, you're the one that's paying for the food, so ask them if you can have the dressing on the side, or the sour cream on the side, the butter on the side, so you can control how much you do have. Dip your fork into the dressing and then dip it into the salad, so you get a little bit with each bite. You don't have to have the whole shebang. Just a little bits. Of course, anything that is breaded on the outside, anything that's got cream sauces on it, you want to avoid that. Anything with extra cheese or bacon added to it is going to add in a ton of extra calories. Now, just know, I had owned a restaurant years back, and I just had one child at that time, and I'll tell you, as much as you want to be healthy in a restaurant, it's very difficult to keep prices down and to make any kind of money. Most of the things that come in are in bulk, all canned up or frozen, and it's very difficult to make it gourmet or make it handmade yet affordable for people. So just know, if it's got cheap prices on the menu, just know it's not going to be the best of quality. And I know we always want good deals on things, but just know it's very difficult to run a restaurant. It's very difficult. So when we had catering and everything, so when you've got all kinds of things like that going on, you know, it's difficult to stay within certain guidelines and to make it, you know, the best quality. Trying to think of anything else that I might. Oh, eat slowly. Oh, that's one thing that I'm always having to work on. I grew up in a family where you just devour the food and it's over and done with. Eat slowly, though. It takes a good 12 to 15 minutes before your stomach runs a signal up your spine and hits the back of your brainstem and says, "Stop, I'm full." So slow down on your eating. Just relax, enjoy the food. Besides, you need to pay attention to your hunger pangs, and if you engulf it, within 5 minutes, you're going to go back for more food. If you would have waited 12 to 15 minutes, your body might have told you, "Whoa, I don't need any more food. I've got enough. I'm filled." So do slow down, just so that prevents you from absorbing any extra calories at all. At the bottom of page 77 are just some things that you can use instead of, and it just cuts down on some calories, cuts down on a large amount of fat, or even sugars. It really helps out in that area. So instead of queso or cheesy cream dips, try to go for salsa. You know, my kids laugh at me, especially my daughter, when we sit down at a Mexican restaurant and out comes the chips and the salsa. I'm grabbing up my spoon and I'm eating the salsa, and it's good. And a lot of times that salsa is pretty hot and spicy, and hot and spicy anything is going to actually fire up that metabolism. So your Tabasco sauce, your cayenne pepper, that actually ignites your metabolic fire. So those are great things. Just try to eat it with the spoon instead of all those chips. Again, if you want those chips, wait till it comes out with your food. All right, turn to the next page. A little bit more, just order grilled if you can. A restaurant will not cut off the fat before they serve it to you. Just know that because it seasons the meat. And they want it tender. That's the best way to advertise is word of mouth. Eating your lowest calories first. Always fill up on your veggies and your protein before you dive into your carbs. That's a big key right there. Eat half of your plate. Slow down. Maybe share it with whoever you're with or ask for a takeout box so that you can save on from cooking the next day. You can always do that. Just easy things you can do. You don't have to eat everything on there, okay? I've heard some people putting salt all over their food just so they don't go back and touch it. Whatever, whatever it rings your bell there, just go for it. Anyway, that's going to prevent you from going. You've also got some lean choices on page 78, some fat-loaded choices. So those are just some things you might want to just kind of be aware of. Most dine-in restaurants too, all your ingredients are, again, purchased in a can. In your gourmet restaurants, they're fresh. You're going to pay more. So if you do go out to eat, try to shoot for something that's gourmet and make that a treat every once in a while. And always have these little tubs to keep you away from that until you do have those special treats when you do go out and spend a little bit of extra on better quality food. And there's a lot of places that even has organic food. They prepare locally grown organic, and those are just plus places. Those are awesome. Okay, the next page, smart fast food options. Those are just some things too to kind of think about on ways to cut back on fat. I do want to point out the first thing there though. It's if you eat this, and that's the biscuit with the sausage, it has about 40 grams of fat. Switch to the pancake with the syrup and butter. That drops it down to 16 grams of fat. Now, I do want to point something out. Your biscuit with the sausage. Sausage is your protein, a high-fat protein. Okay? Your biscuit's loaded in shortening. That's where you're getting your fat there. But your sausage is your protein. When you switch it to a pancake, there's no protein. Especially if you're not making a high-protein pancake, which I have that recipe on my website if you're interested in that. But if you are having just a plain regular pancake, it's going to be carbs. And then when you add syrup to it, that's even more carbs. Then you add butter to it, and you can limit how much butter. That's going to be your fat. You always need to add a protein to it. Again, every single meal, you need to have a protein to help balance out the carbs in that, especially if you're wanting to lose weight, if you're trying to control blood sugars, all kinds of diseases and hormonal balance, you need a protein at every single meal. Eating healthy on a budget. I hear all the time about eating healthy on a budget. They just can't do it. It's too expensive. Well, there's lots of things that you can do to cut down. I personally, I can't find any with coupons. I can't find any healthy foods, coupons will cover. It's always box junk stuff. So I use coupons personally on things such as paper towels or toilet paper or napkins, paper plates, whatever, like if the company comes. I use my coupons for that. And then the money that I save off of that is applied towards the more organic type foods. Now, again, I'm limited on organic because I can't afford everything organic. I do have a garden that I do grow, but it's not very large. It's just a small square foot garden, or it's called square foot gardening. It's not a square foot. It's several square feet, but it's called square foot gardening, so I can get more within a little patch, so to speak. But that's another way I do it. But your apples have up to about 44 pesticides on it, so those are one thing that I definitely put my money towards when I do go buy some apples, is try to get organic apples. Your strawberries, your peaches are also loaded in that. So just be aware, you don't always have to go everything organic. Just pick and choose. There's something called the Dirty Dozen that I'll have to show you on this too, that also has all those extras on it. Okay, so flip on over to the next page, and you have budget shopping. Now, this is going to change as the years go by, and this also shows the cost per serving in my area. So it might be different in your area. So just know that. It's just a general rule of thumb, and again, it's going to change. So this was for this year, so who knows, it can definitely change within the next couple years. But like the first one, your baked potato, it's going to cost you about 33 cents per medium baked potato, and that would be like 3/4 of a cup. If you buy that 5-pound bag of Russell potatoes for about $4, $3.99, and that bag is going to have right at 11 to 13 small or medium-sized potatoes in it. So you can budget it out that way. Old-fashioned oats, 13 cents per half a cup. A bag of spinach, 33 cents for a 2-cup serving. You know, there's just so many ways that you can incorporate healthy into it. You don't have to go to a Whole Foods all the time or a Trader Joe's all the time to go buy everything organic. You shop smart. Just shop smart. Pick and choose what's best. The next page is shopping tips too. Shopping and buying in bulk. Very important that you do buy in bulk, because, and that's how I also save when I cook in bulk on my Sundays and my Wednesdays. I buy bulk proteins. It saves quite a bit of money. Plus, you can freeze it. I like the Harvest brand chicken. I don't know if you guys get it there, but we have it here. It's antibiotic free. So I'm always running by in Walmart and checking to see if they have it on sale. And if they have any of it on sale, I've got a whole basket full of chicken. And I'm taking it home. Some of it I'm freezing, and some of it I'm going to cook for bulk for my meals. So at least I have it there. So it's just a good way that you can get it extra, save some extra money. But have the shopping list, buy meat on the bone, save the bone if it's organic. Let me rephrase that. If it's hormone-free beef, or if it's antibiotic-free chicken, free-range chicken, buy it on the bone, save the bone, boil the bone in water, and make your own bone broth. This is so healthy for your body. It actually builds up your immune system. You can freeze this later if you need any type of chicken stock or beef stock and use it for soup or whatever you're cooking. You can freeze it, or a lot of people drink it just for the health and the nutrition part. Again, you can freeze it, or you can just leave it in your fridge for a day or two and drink it as your water. Just a good way to do it. As it sits in the fridge, if there's any fat in it, fat's going to rise to the top, so you'll definitely have to rake all that off before you reheat it. Go generic too. That's another way that you can do it. Most of the stuff comes in the same factory. So anyway, always go generic. Label reading. Ooh, huge. There's a lot of information out there on the food label. I do want to kind of point out you should always look at the very top. I'm going to show this right up here and get this right. Always look at the very top first to see what your serving size is and how many servings are in that container, because as you can tell, it says servings per container down. Servings per container, and that would be amount per serving. So if there are, say, 4 servings in that container and you're going to consume that whole container, you need to multiply everything down here underneath it times 4. So just know that. I know a lot of times people look at it and glance at it and says, well, the serving says 1.5 grams of fat. Awesome! I'm going to have a whole bowl of it. Well, they don't realize how much they're actually consuming. So do keep that in mind. Over on the next page, it kind of divides out too, on this page right here. In the yellow, that's actually your heart disease area. This one has your total fat of 12 grams. But over to the right of it, in the purple there, is 18%. Now, these in the purple, you want to make sure they're right at 10% or below, because when it gets above that, especially close to 20%, that really increases your risk of any type of heart disease. Now, besides heart disease in this area, also is cancer and diabetes, but heart disease is the main one in this area. Your total fat can be a huge amount of different types of fats, but underneath it, you have a subcategory. You have your saturated fats and you have your trans fats. Those are both required by the government that they go on there. Now, your saturated fats need to be less than 7% of your total intake for the day. Less than 7%. And I do believe I have that, actually. That information is listed on the next page. But your trans fats, there will never be, or as of right now, there is no percent sign out to the side of your trans fats. You want your trans fats to be 0 if possible. You can imagine you're putting plastic in your arteries and making it very stiff. You don't want it. You want your arteries to be very pliable. So trans fats is a good fat that's been transformed into a bad fat, so you definitely want to limit that. Cholesterol, keep it less than 300 milligrams a day. Sodium, really less than 2,000 milligrams in a day, unless your doctor says even less. Total carbs. Skipping to the next one there. Potassium usually isn't a big thing unless you're having problems with electrolytes or if you're dealing with renal problems. But total carbs, 1 serving of a carbohydrate is 15 grams. So on this one, it says 31 grams. You're basically consuming 2 carb servings on that one. It is required by the government that you do put the fiber underneath it and sugars underneath it. You definitely want the fiber high, because we've talked about that fiber last time, and you want the sugars to be low. However, if there is milk or fruit in your ingredients list, just know it will be listed as a sugar because of the lactose in the milk and the fructose in the fruit. So it's listed under sugar. It's not divided out. Proteins, this one has 5 grams. Remember, size of the palm of your hand, it's going to vary from one person to the next. General of thumb, a female's size is usually about 3 to 4 ounces. So a deck of cards is right at 3 ounces. And each one of those ounces is going to give you right at 7 grams of protein. So this one right here is only 5 grams. You're not even getting an ounce worth of protein out of this. I believe this is mac and cheese food label too. So anyway, I hope that helps you. Everything I've just talked about is verbally. It's on the next page except for the part in the box up here in the shaded area. And general rule of thumb, you want to keep your fat intake to 30% or below in the day. At least that's recommended by the American Heart Association. So every 100 calories, you want to make sure you have 3 or less grams of fat. So if it has 200 calories in it, then you're actually going to have about 6 or less grams of fat. If it has 300 calories in it, you want to make sure it has 9 or less grams of fat. So go back to the previous page, that macaroni and cheese label that we just looked at, and it says in that 1 cup you're having 250 calories and 12 grams of fat. Well, let's see if this fits. So you're looking back here, 250 calories. That would basically put it right in between the 200 and 300. So you need about 7.5 grams of fat or less. This one has 12. So it definitely blows that one out of the water. That probably explains why that is 18% of your daily intake too on that area. So I hope this has helped you out and cleared up quite a few things. Be sure and do your daily reflections on the back, and I hope you guys are still working on your barriers, adding to it, and making sure you're tearing down those walls. Give yourself the grace, because you're building up new healthy habits while you're tearing down old ones, and you've got to walk in that freedom and walk in that grace, because it's tough. It really is. And we all battle it. You know, we definitely do. Even though I do this every day, it's still little things that I still battle, you know, such as slowing down and making sure I leave some food on my plate, you know, just little things like that. So it's a battle for everyone, but you're going to do it. You're going to be great. You're going to be fine. You know, God shows us so much on our journey, and just know that it's a journey. It's not a diet. It's not a destination. We're just going to constantly get better and better in more ways than one, just not just physically, but mentally and spiritually too. So you guys have a wonderful and blessed week, and I will see you next time.